Okay. Drum roll. Where do we go when we die? Some believe you move on to a better place, or maybe off to a worse place. Others think nothing happens and you cease to exist altogether. No matter what your belief is, we all live, breathe, and bleed the same. Or at least similarly enough. But for one ghost, there is only one afterlife. The legends say that long ago, the constellation fell from the heavens. When this constellation made impact with the grounds below and breached the mortal realm, the shock waves and otherworldly energies caused the hells themselves to come into existence. What some might refer to as an icy wasteland that goes on seemingly forever, the fallen constellation referred to it as home. Branching off from this realm were portals that led to a myriad of pocket dimensions, each with different properties and purposes. Though, what purpose did this one pocket dimension serve? So far, the only residence in this realm was the graveyard, where a single ghost wanders. The scent of fresh fruit followed her every step. Her pale blue skin glittered in the moonlight and her hair shined a radiant lilac. Her eyes reflected a deep crimson that could pierce through even the most guarded of souls. The blue of her dress helped to offset the paleness of her corporeal form, and on her neck was careful stitching that held her head firmly in place. But regardless of what her appearance implied, she was not concerned with how she passed. Her focus was solely set on the here and now. With no memory of her time among the living, the earliest thing this ghost could recall was the offer of friendship from a stranger. A devil. Little did she realize what accepting such an offer would do to her. The price of this newfound bond became the inability to pass on to whatever came next. The ghost girl was spiritually shackled to her casket, forever unable to leave her graveyard to visit other realms unless she received permission to do so. Yet despite this factor of this arrangement, the ghost made the decision to stay like this, regardless of how empty this graveyard currently was. She had grown accustomed to this devil's odd view of friendship, but that was not enough to stop the ghost from feeling lonely. Long stretches of time where her newfound friend was not present felt everlasting. Being alone with her own thoughts and the unsettling silence of the graveyard made her grow restless. She craved companionship. She craved friendship. She craved a community. So what better way to pass the hypothetical time than by developing one's sense of self? In this ghost case, she chose to see just how far she could push her corporeal form. From sprouting animal ears atop her head to training how to become intangible on command, the ghost was unsure how to better spend her eternal afterlife. Some of these abilities came naturally as she grew used to being a specter, such as making her legs turn into a wispy trail for better maneuverability. She was undefeated when it came to her races around the graveyard. In fact, she was undefeated and unchallenged. But aside from the more physical activities, she also tried to see what foods she enjoyed most. To her dismay, she couldn't taste anything. Item after item, it all tasted as plain as air. There was no satisfaction from it. Though eventually, inspired by the fruit designs on her casket and the scent that wafted in her wake, she discovered that the taste and sweetness of fruit did not evade her. It was a little victory in her never-ending afterlife. Yet even still, the loneliness that was festering within the ghost only continued to grow. Even when she was granted permission to leave her realm and see what else was out there, she couldn't fill the emptiness that resided at the core of her soul, and the barren graveyard was a constant reminder. Normally, a ghost would just need to wait for mortals to perish before the souls would start rolling in, right? Well, there was a complication or two when it came to the ghost realm. Being so closed off in her own little space, She was stuck having hardly any visitors that were not a direct result of her approved ventures. And as much as she adored the few she warmed up to, she could not ignore this wish for a community. Permanent additions to her little realm that wouldn't be going off once their fun was finished. This encompassing solitude was simply not the way she wanted to spend her afterlife. So with some assistance from her current connections, she got the bright idea to reach out to lost souls. What better way to summon those who wished to belong somewhere, especially those who were lost and couldn't find their way? Why, by streaming, of course. Her ghostly wails and genuine love for those looking for a home would surely shine through. It had to. But she would need a name in order to properly advertise herself. She thought long and hard until the name itself practically jumped out to her, or rather floated to her. Her casket. The very thing that was as much a blessing as it was a curse. That was the perfect name. Casket. With some trips made through approved portals, Casket was able to grab a few essentials she would need. She wanted to make sure she could not only be heard, but seen clearly too. As luck would have it, the equipment that could pick up such things from a ghost were in plentiful supply. All Casket had to do now was simply be herself, even if she wasn't sure who herself really was. But she had to try. This had to work. At first, there were not many souls that were brought in. Maybe a tiny handful at most, but it was progress. It was proof that her calls beyond her realm were making a spiritual connection. She felt so grateful that she wanted to do something special for those that decided to join her. With the proper consent, she can take a spirit and reshape them into any form, human or otherwise, that they choose. This soul reforging is something that Casket truly began to perfect as she gained more souls within her growing graveyard. It was a small gesture that helped them all feel a little less lost now that they were found. As a result, Casket would slowly, but surely, feel the void in her heart start to be filled with a sense of joy and belonging. Maybe this was going to work after all. Maybe she didn't need to be alone anymore. But as well-meaning souls began to trickle in, some sour spirits also found their way to Casket's afterlife. They could potentially drive away some of the lost souls she had provided a safe haven for, and this simply would not stand. Casket could not and would not lose those that she welcomed in. She refused to. They were part of her community now, and their happy existence hinged on maintaining their safety. Or perhaps that was just her possessive energy that manifested over the extensive amount of time spent in solitude. While her found souls could mostly fend for themselves, it wouldn't be enough if the problems of these bad-spirited individuals persisted. Luckily, Casket's friends stepped in when she needed them most. Not only did they offer to help her, but they also extended that same sense of protection to her community as well. These friends that Casket trusted with her afterlife, they all came in different forms. Some had started as a lost soul, while others were met outside of her realm altogether. From the owner of a cat cafe, all the way to a dragon who can shift his form at will, Casket designated them as her undertakers. Each went through a sacred ascension, one where Casket gifted a portion of her soul to them, a process she referred to as soul bonding. It was an arduous process that signified the undying trust she placed in each and every one of them. With her infinite afterlife protected and growing, Casket continues to stream in the hope that she can reach out to many more lost souls, in the hopes of helping them find a place to belong. So if you're a lost soul, looking for a sense of direction, or simply a kind embrace, follow the fun, and you're sure to find your way to the afterlife. Yay, lore!